folks, Cranky Old Cuber here. So I've got a budget 3x3 cube comparison for today's video. I am gonna look at these 5 cubes arrayed here in front of me, and I'm gonna compare them basically on the subjective and the objective, okay? So the way I did this was I warmed up with a bunch of solves, and then I did an average of 5 on each of these cubes, and then I threw in an average of 5 on my main, which is a MoHuan GTS M from the Cubicle. So the cubes that I looked at are the QiYi Warrior W, this guy here, see? The Yancheng Yan 3, this guy here, the MoFang JiaoShi MF3RS, right here, the MoHuan ShouSu Chufeng, this guy right here, and this is the only one with stickers in this bunch. And then finally, I rounded it out with the QiYi Thunderclap V2. Okay, so I want to look at these in order of least favorite to favorite. And what I'm looking at, like I said, it's a mix of the subjective and objective. Subjectively, how does the cube feel when I'm doing time solves on it? Objectively, how are my times with it? How do they compare with my main? Also, I've done no setup whatsoever on any of these cubes. I've just broken them in a bit and thrown a bit of DNM 37 in them to get them all on an equal footing. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way is this review is not for elite speed cubers, but rather for mere mortals such as myself. I average under a minute now. I want to know, do these cubes make me feel comfortable? Do they make me feel confident while I'm solving? Do I feel out of control? You know, so that's what I'm looking for. So in the bottom spot is this MoHuan ShouSu Chufeng, okay? It's 12 bucks normally, although it's been on sale for $7 since I unboxed it a while ago. Now, I had high hopes for this cube when I first unboxed it because it felt smooth and it felt stable. And it's not bad, right? It's a perfectly fine cube. But what I found was when I solved with it, it's catchy and it's a little hard to control, and it ends up being kind of unpleasant to solve with. Now, this cube might get better with some setup, but out of the box and broken in, I wasn't happy with it. I didn't like it at all. My average of 5 was also unimpressed with this cube, and I had the worst solve of the session with it, a 66.89 second solve, which is pretty bad. The average of 5 was slightly better than the Warrior W's average of 5, but not by much. Also, this is the only stickered cube in the bunch, so I might want to get a stickerless version of it and do a follow-up, because I'm finding out that the stickerless cubes frequently feel slightly better than their black stickered counterparts. In any case, there are better cubes for the money, and I cannot recommend this to beginners, or really anybody of an intermediate solving. So let's move on to the next thing. The next one up is the QiYi Thunderclap V2. So this guy here, regularly 10 bucks. Sometimes I find it on sale for 9. I did not have high hopes for this cube, as I haven't really been a fan of it since I got it. However, it is QiYi's higher end budget offering, and its namesake, the original Thunderclap, is pretty loved by a lot of people, so I thought I better include it in this. I did get my second best solve of the session, a 41.55 second solve with it, but the average of 5 was middle of the road. Mostly, I just never really felt good solving with this cube. It feels loose and wild, and it didn't suit my turning style, and I spent a lot of time aligning it so it would turn or undoing unintended turns, and so wasn't super happy with this cube. But again, just in a regular situation, you know, just doing T-perms or whatever, it's not a bad cube. It's just when I get to solving with it, didn't like the way it felt. Okay, so middle of the pack, right? This one, surprisingly good cube. This is the QiYi Warrior W. It's $4. You can get them on sale for $3. I've bought several of them on sale for $3. I give them away. It's a really, really nice beginner cube, but what I also find is it's not a bad cube for me for solving. So this cube has a frosted feel, and you can see it's not shiny like the Yan or like the MF3RS. See, it's more of a matte, and I actually like that. it feels less slippery to me than the other smooth cubes. So the colors are a little different. They're more pastel-y. So this guy has a, you know, that's kind of a MoHuan blue, and this is, I don't know what this is, but it's a pastel blue, and the red is a little different. See, it's a little lighter. It's not a lot lighter, but it's some. Anyway, this cube felt reasonably not bad. I started solving with it though, and when you go fast, see right now, it feels smooth and controllable, but when I started solving with it, I would frequently overturn with it, and it also would get a little catchy, and I found myself being frustrated because I couldn't get it to, like, I just couldn't get it to feel like it was under control, and I was constantly fighting with the cube, and I got my worst average of 5 with this cube too. So I'd say it's a good starter cube, but when you get under a minute, there are better cubes out there. Okay, so let's talk about runners-up. The runner-up, and as much as I love the Yan 3, I'm going to tell you why this is a runner-up. Okay, this is a great cube, the Yancheng Yan 3. It feels an awful lot like an expensive the Valk 3 with a bit of a MoHuan twist on it. Frankly, it feels really smooth, a bit loose, but very stable. It's a pretty fast cube when I'm turning it, and it can get a bit wild, much the way the original Weilong GTS felt to me when I first got it a few months ago. It's not catchy though. It's just smooth and really nice and pleasant. And my turning style, especially right now, because I'm not warmed up right now, but if I were warmed up, this would be even smoother. But it feels really nice. I got my best average of 5 with this cube at 45.75 seconds, which also is my new personal record. I got a very nice 42.62 second solve with it. I did have one kind of a disaster solve at 61.29 seconds, and the cube, like, that wasn't me, it was the cube got away from me. So we'll just, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so the reason the Yan 3 is in second is mostly because of its cost. I can't decide if it's a higher end budget cube or a lower end premium cube. At $13 though, it's almost triple the cost of the winner. And that winner is the MoFang JiaoShi MF3 RS. The stickerless version of this cube is absolutely awesome to solve with, and I don't think a beginning to intermediate solver can go wrong with this cube. It's got a nice clicky feel, but it's very smooth. And it's stable and controllable, and I was so impressed by this when I was solving. And I got my best solve of the session, a 29.90, which is also a new personal record for me. I've never been sub 40, let alone sub 30, but I got an actual full step solve out of it at 29.9. The average of 5 was a second best 51.75 seconds, which is pretty respectable for me. I've been a fan of this cube since I got my hands on it, and after doing this comparison, I'm even more of a fan. So, how do these cubes compare with my current main? Like I said, the MoHuan Weilong GTS-M, right here. Well, on price, they compare very favorably. The GTS-M is $49, and it's only available at the Cubicle. You can build one of these yourself, of course, but I haven't ventured down that road yet. My times with the GTS-M were not out of this world. Had a best of 46.05 and a worst of 59.73, and the average of 5 of 52.63, which is not bad. I really like the way the GTS-M feels. But right now, I gotta tell you, I'm really enamored of the MF3 RS. So every single one of these cubes here would benefit from magnets, I think. And I'm definitely going to put magnets into an MF3 RS, and I'm definitely going to put magnets into a Yancheng Yan 3. And I'll let you know how that goes, because I think that's going to go really well. I've heard good things about that. Now, remember, all of this is just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. But if you have a fairly rough, imprecise turning style and you tend to panic while solving like I do, these recommendations may help you when choosing your budget 3x3. Or maybe it won't help at all, because what do I know? I'm just some guy with a camera and a microphone and some cubes. At any rate, I hope this video was a little bit helpful, and thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next video. Cheers.